Body cam footage has been released from a controversial police shooting, what the footage shows.
And another week of major anti-Trump protests in Oswego, what this week's message was.
Plus, a very famous artist is coming to SUNY Oswego's top concert this week. Find out who it is.
WTOP-10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Nasir Meikle.
And I'm Madeline Cummings.
SUNY Oswego's annual Ozfest concert is going to be headlined by multi-platinum hip-hop and rap artist Polo G. Polo G has held multi-Billboard Top 10 albums and is known for songs such as Rap Star, Martin and Gina, Pop Out, and more. The long-awaited artist's announcement comes just 1 week from the May 9th show, in which Polo G will be joined by R&B star Mariah the Scientist and artists from SUNY Oswego's Digital Music Association.
It's another major artist for Ozfest who has previously had performers such as Offset last year, Party Next Door, Gunna, and more. Ozfest is a full day's events on the last day of classes this Friday. It begins with activities in the Mary Walker parking lot at noon, followed by a picnic at 4 p.m. and finally the concert at 8 p.m.
SUNY Oswego's 22nd annual Archon Gaming Convention concluded earlier today. The multi-day convention featured hundreds of attendees and a plethora of games, challenges, presentations, and more. The event ran from Friday evening to this afternoon with student-run activities available all around Marano Campus Center. Attendees from campus and from the city paid between $8 and $15 for the event that also featured 2 midnight live team games and all-day weekend movie screenings.
SUNY Oswego student-run radio station WNYO is hosting their annual 24-hour charity radiothon this weekend. The radio cast will support Oswego County Opportunities, which is an organization that supports around 15,000 local residents in need through various activities and programs. The event will run from 5 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday to Saturday, and students can still sign up for their own time slot by contacting WNYO.
The City of Oswego is conducting their annual code enforcement blitz from May 5th to May 19th. Law enforcement will venture around Oswego to ensure no one was leaving excess garbage or debris by their houses. The blitz comes during the time in which students will be leaving campus for summer break. If violations are found, those in violation will be asked to remove their items, and if they fail to comply, they will be hit with various fines and penalties. Anti-Trump protests have been staple in Oswego for the past 2 months, and this past weekend has been no different.
WTOP-10 reporter Sana Zakiri is here with more on today's protests. Sana?
That's right, guys. Today was the 9th straight week where anti-Trump protesters took to Bridge Street for a Saturday morning protest. Over 100 protesters took to the bridge to call for the protection of the rule of the law and Constitution. By 10 a.m., the protesters had gathered with flags and signs. Some stood silently while others used megaphones to speak their message. Cars drove by and honked, some in approval, others in disapproval. The group Oswego Indivisible has been organizing these rallies. Protests like these have been taking place nationwide. The slight rain did not slow down protesters such as Gay Williams, who has lived in Oswego for over 50 years and held a side reading, quote, "Protect our Constitution and our rule of law." She was one of the many longtime Oswego residents who have been showing up consistently, and the group is showing no signs of slowing down. For WTOP-10, I'm Sana Zakiri.
Thank you, Sana. The Trump administration is cutting roughly $350,000 out of Oswego County's budget because of cuts to AmeriCorps. AmeriCorps is a 30-year-old federal volunteer service agency that focuses on helping people in need. The announcement came from U.S. Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who detailed how the cuts have impacted more than 3,600 community service members and slashed over $26 million in federal funding for local community projects.
Madeline, we're up here in a bit of a rainy stretch, it's crazy out here. How do things look right now?
I'm not sure, but let's take a look outside with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Ryan Murphy. Ryan?
And thank you, guys. Now I'm here outside the Marano Campus Center, and I can tell you it isn't that cold out, but it is pretty wet and rainy. Now it's been like that all day. In fact, it's been like that over the past few days. Now, if you're wondering, is this rain going to continue? I have some bad news. It is going to. We're going to have a lot of rain between now and Wednesday with the good chance of some thunderstorms on Tuesday. But for the rest of the week, it's going to clear up, especially for Ozfest. It's going to be so nice out. The sun will be out and it'll be very warm. Now, Madeline and Nasir, I don't know about you guys, but I don't really mind this rain much at all. I will happily take this over the snow. Let me know what you guys think. Back to you guys at the desk.
I know how to sled, not surf, so I'll be drying here. Thank you, Ryan. But moving on, a Friday water main break continues to block off a road in downtown Oswego. A small but deep hole in the middle of East Cayuga Street in between East 9th and East 10th Street has caused the road to be closed. Friday water main breakage caused a temporary road closure in the same area. It closed roads down on East Schuyler and Van Buren Street. Those have been since mostly reopened, but there is no word on when all repairs will be completed.
State investigators have released body cam footage of a controversial March shooting in which deputies shot a man during a search warrant. Footage shows an altercation in which 32-year-old Miles Dignian held his son while officers demanded he hand the child over due to a warrant of protection being served against Dignian. A struggle ensued that saw Dignian pick up and swing an object at officers, who responded by attempting to subdue him with a taser. Their efforts failed and officers shot him twice. Dignian died shortly after, and the case has been a point of controversy ever since.
Still ahead tonight, a jury duty scam is going around New York State. What to look out for.
Plus, a former president of the Syracuse Common Council passed away. All of that and more right after this.
If you like action, romance,
Polly sister, if you're watching this,
and highbrow humor,
surface is this.
Floor. Minch did not legitimately put his head in the toilet.
there's only one place to turn. Tune in to new episodes of
Oh boy!
only on WTOP.
Look at the number of disasters in the U.S. Chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
I had to eat a raw egg on Chris's dormitory floor.
I currently don't have any federal pending charges.
You know what you never did? You never walked to Walmart, Chris. That's my co-host. This is for making me eat roast Pop-Tarts. It's showtime, Chris. Come on.
I want to be on the air for that. I got a couple things to say.
No.
Spin the wheel. But you got censorship.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to. And welcome back to WTOP-10. I'm Storm Team 10 meteorologist Ryan Murphy with your local weather forecast. Now we're going to start off with the song of the night. Not I don't know about you guys, but where I come from, rain is a good thing. I got a lot of cornfields around where I'm from. Now if you're wondering why I got this up here, that's because we're going to get a lot of rain throughout this week. I'll get to all that in just a second. Now looking at our live satellite radar, you can see over our area here there is a whole lot of rain, a lot of clouds and whatnot. It is something that is going to be a concern over the next few days. So if you're heading on out, grab yourself an umbrella, throw on a rain jacket, whatever you need to do. Protect yourself from the cold, wet rain. Now, rain for tomorrow isn't much of a concern. We'll have a couple spotty showers here and there, but Tuesday is our main concern here. You can see we'll have precipitation amounts well over an inch, and we'll have some thunderstorms as well. Now, we haven't had a whole lot of thunderstorms recently, with it being winter, but when we do get it during the winter, it is pretty exciting. But if you see lightning or hear thunder, you're going to want to immediately go inside, especially to a house like this, maybe a building or even your car. The worst thing you want to do is stand under something like a tree, the one right behind me. That is a very good chance of being struck by lightning. The same thing goes with tall metal structures. If you're in a storm like this, I'm running right into this house right here. Now check this out. Looking at our superhero forecast here, you can see tomorrow is going to be pretty warm with a high 67, and we do have a small chance of some thunderstorms in the afternoon. Now for Tuesday evening, that's our bigger chance of thunderstorms, as we will have a lot of rain and a good chance of some hail, so you might want to watch out for that. Wednesday will be, boring, no thunderstorms, nothing fun like that, just some cold, wet rain. Now looking at our futurecast here, you can see tomorrow there'll be a couple spotty showers here and there, a lot of clouds, but Tuesday is going to be our main area of concern. You can see here some thunderstorms are going to move on up into our area, especially in the noontime. And that's, your big chance for a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, some hail, and that's going to continue on throughout the night into early Wednesday morning. Now, as for tonight, temperatures are going to drop down to a cooler 51 degrees, and like I said earlier, we have a little bit of rain. Now, that rain will continue on into tomorrow, and like I said earlier, it would be nice and warm. So that's something to look forward to, at least. Now, for our extended forecast, like I was saying earlier, you can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a whole lot of rain, but Thursday and Friday, it'll clear on up. And Friday is Ozfest, so if you're planning on spending some time outside, I have some good news for you. It's going to be really nice, pretty warm, the sun will be out, and that will be the same thing for this weekend. That's all I have for my full forecast. Madeline this year, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Ryan. Oswego County is reminding residents that a new requirement for domestic flying is coming on May 7th. Those flying domestically or entering secure federal facilities will need to present a real ID or an enhanced ID. Driver's licenses and passports are accepted forms of real ID. Those needing a real ID can visit an Oswego County Department or Motor Vehicles office during hours of operation.
Van Robinson, former president of the Syracuse Common Council and longtime advocate for Syracuse's African-American community, has passed away at the age of 87. According to the Garland Brothers Funeral Home, Robinson died yesterday afternoon at Upstate University Hospital. Robinson lived in Syracuse for 57 years and was a longtime leader of the Syracuse NCAACP. He was also the first black politician to be elected as president of the Common Council.
There's currently a jury duty scam going around New York State. These scammers are contacting people via phone or email and are threatening to arrest you if you don't pay a fine for missing jury duty. The New York State court system will never ask you for any personal information or money over the phone. If you receive one of these calls or emails, you're encouraged to report the scam to law enforcement.
According to Mayor Eric Adams, New York City is setting $1.6 million aside for Silent Shield technology in bodegas. This move comes after a series of recent violent incidents in bodegas in the 5 boroughs. Under this new initiative, all workers have to do in a serious situation is press the panic button, and officers in the local precinct will be alerted immediately. And coming up after the break, our Nasir Meikle sits down with a RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star.
Find out what she says after the break.
Get rid of all the questions. Error. Yeah, okay. I just went around that stuff. DOE went through 6, 5, 4, 2, 1.
If only we had someone who could tell us what we should and shouldn't watch.
Well, do we have a show for you?
Who are you?
What are you doing in my bed?
On Be Kind and Rewind, we will go through and review all your favorite movie franchises.
And tell you which ones you should and shouldn't watch from the perspective of normal movie fans. Well, be sure to check out Be Kind and Rewind on WTOP-10.
Welcome back to WTOP-10 Nightly News.
With the RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10 premiere just around the corner, I had the opportunity to catch up with one of the season's queens, Phoenix.
From their earlier days on the season 3 to their return to the workroom, they open up about their journey, the evolution of the show, and what fans can expect this time around.
Thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
So let's start.
Okay.
How does it feel stepping back into the workroom?
Insane. Literally, it is like, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of doing Drag Race all over again. You know, it is a very, I mean, I was like 29 when I filmed that. I'm 44 now. And I mean, that's a lot of years in between. And I mean, just think about how much you grow in like 5 years, much less basically like 15 years. So, you know, going back in, feeling like a new person, my drag is completely different, but then also going on a show that is completely different with, you know, the audience is so mainstream now, and you know, varies from every age demographic to just it's a huge show now. So I feel like I'm doing it for the first time.
Really? Now, understanding that it's completely different, how did you step back in with a different show, different community, different world?
I mean, really, you just throw yourself in there and hope it goes. So, I mean, you know, I really tried to, you know, before, I think when I was prepping for Drag Race, you didn't really know a whole lot about it. I mean, let's be real, season 3 is as mainstream as it is now. So you just kind of, you somewhat prepared, but you just kind of threw some shit in the bag and was like, all right, here we go. This one, you know, it was definitely you know, I had a team of people that were amazing. We really took our time to kind of prepare me for it. And, you know, I talk about this during the you know, the interview it dropped with Entertainment Weekly and on the show. You know, I, crazy enough, don't really watch Drag Race like that. You know, you know, I've been working nonstop and, you know, normally when I come home from dealing with drag, the last thing I want to do is watch more drag on TV. So, you know, I watched it enough to kind of know what's going on because I do a lot of the bookings here in Atlanta and, you know, I run my own production company. And so I keep up to date with what's happening. But, you know, I did have friends that would kind of, you know, watch the show for me and understand what X, Y, and Z is. And, you know, we really took our time to kind of prep me for it. And, you know, that was something very different from season 3.
So would you consider yourself an OG?
Absolutely, I'm an OG. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, and knowing that you have that little bit of influence, being an OG, Drag Race has expanded globally. So how do you feel about the global aspect that Drag Race has taken?
It's wild. I mean, like even on the day that it was released, you know, the cast was released. So over on this side of the world, I mean, from the moment it dropped at 12 o'clock, my social media, my phone, everything went haywire, like nonstop. And then probably around 6:30-ish over here, it kind of chilled out a bit. And then the rest of the world woke up and they were seeing it. So it just took off again.
Did you see All Stars in your future?
So it was one of those things, you know, I think you always get asked like, oh my God, would you ever do All Stars? Oh my God, why haven't they called you for All Stars? And for me, like for a long time, I honestly, truly had no desire to do All Stars. And it was because I didn't want to deal with the fandom that came along with it and all the extra that came along with it. I had watched friends of mine just get beat up, and I just don't have the energy for that. Where I'm at in my life, I just do not have the energy for that. And, you know, I think after my sister, when I was having this like reevaluation of my life and of who I am, I started thinking, I'm like, I want more.
That being said, what's next for Phoenix?
All Stars airs next Friday, May 9th. So I have that. You know, I just signed with a new talent agency, Warner Talent, and you know, we're going to be traveling a lot. I have merch coming out. I have a single dropping. I do a lot of like big circuit parties, which is like big dance events, and so I have like a circuit track coming out with one of my favorite DJs, House of Labs. So It drops soon. Yeah, I've got all kind of, I'm going to take this and run with it and make the most of my time. I have given myself to Atlanta for God, almost 2 decades. And, I have a production company, so I throw my own events, all over the city, all over the South. I work with Atlanta Pride, South Carolina Pride. So, I'm always in it somewhere, whether it's on stage or off stage. So I'm excited for this next step with All Stars because I think it's going to allow me to change some things up a little bit, not be so focused on Atlanta and Atlanta based. And, I always love my city, but it's going to be nice to kind of branch out a little bit.
Well, that sounds great. I love that you're very focused on the growth aspect of yourself and what's coming up next. But I would like to thank you so much for your time.
So Nasir, that was such a fun interview. How was the talk with Phoenix?
It was an amazing conversation, amazing interview. We had gotten down and just kind of got a little close before we sat and did the recorded portion, but it was a great conversation.
Wonderful.
Speaking of great things, it's been a great spring semester for us in Oswego State Athletics.
Absolutely, Nasir. Let's take a quick peek at our sportscast with our Mike Neckers. Mike?
Thanks, guys. It was a historic weekend with 2 teams bringing home the gold for Oswego State. Stick around after the break to find out who.
Say, President Stanley, whenever there's bad weather, who would you turn to?
I'd turn to Storm Team 10.
No, but you've got to say it like this. Storm Team 10. Say it with me. Storm Team 10.
What's going on?
Yeah, we go on at like 11:30. It's like
no.
What do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Matt, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30? Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow. Get a close up of that one. Matthew,
look at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
Back in, as I mentioned, it was a crazy weekend in the Oswego sports world, so let's get right into it. The Oswego men's baseball team closed out their regular season in dominant fashion, sweeping the Canton Kangaroos in a doubleheader. In Game 1, the Lakers recorded 19 hits, tallying 16 runs and putting the pedal to the metal, finishing with a 16-2 victory. Then, in Game 2, they continued this dominance, scoring 20 runs off of 18 hits, including a 9-run 6th inning. With these wins, the Lakers secure their spot as the 3 seed in the SUNYAC playoffs and will wait it out to see who their opponent will be in the first round. And while one team's playoff run is beginning, another comes to an end. The Oswego State men's tennis team is headed to the NCAA tournament after a dominant 5-1 victory over the Nazareth Golden Flyers in the Empire 8 Championship yesterday. The Lakers set the tone in doubles play and never looked back as Anthony Marcano and Matthew Manera swept the floor, and Austin Davis picked up a huge singles win. This win for the Lakers secures a spot in the NCAA tournament, and their first round matchup will be announced tomorrow on ncaa.com at 12:30 p.m. And the Oswego State men's tennis team aren't the only ones who took home some silverware this weekend, as the women's lacrosse team made history yesterday. Lucas Marquez Silva has the story.
perfection and record-breaking. If I had to define the unforgettable afternoon for the Lakers last Saturday, this would be it. The Oswego State women's lacrosse team won for the first time in the program's history the SUNYAC, dominating the Cortland Red Dragons in the final, finishing the SUNYAC without losing a single match and creating new chapters for the story of the Lakers, reaching historic milestones. This was the second victory all time over the Red Dragons, and both were achieved this season with a lot of participation from the head coach Britt Howard.
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing that we preached all week was discipline and composure, and I think they really came off from the first draw and, they held their composure from one end of the field to the other, and, everybody played great and the bench was awesome, keeping everybody involved.
The Lakers were superior from start to finish, passing the ball peacefully across the field when had possession and making as little mistakes as possible. The two stars of the day were Alexis Hill, who commanded both offensive and defensively the team with 4 goals, and the other star of the day was Elena Yakavitsi, who saved the Lakers with more than 10 saves during the game.
I think it's just a great team win. Obviously I had some saves out there, but I wouldn't have had those saves without my defense. They really worked well. We talked, and it was a good team win. With
this victory, the Lakers reached 13 wins in a row and broke Cortland's chance to add the 25th trophy of SUNYAC in its collection. This season, the Lakers also kept an incredible record of 17 games and only 2 defeats. Now the Lakers are waiting for the results of the draw this Monday to find out who their opponent will be at the NCAA. Reporting for WTOP-10, I'm Lucas Marquez. Now back to the desk.
A historic win in season indeed for these remarkable women, and I had the chance to sit down with senior captain Julia Quirk earlier today to reflect on everything that this program has been through. Take a look. How does it feel to be a part of such a historic championship winning team?
It feels amazing. It's everything you hope and dream of, so I think that coming back this 5th year is definitely worth it, especially winning the SUNYACs and being undefeated all season. It's just an unreal feeling, and I think everyone on the team feels the same way.
Absolutely, and being in such a pivotal role, both as a player as a leader for this team, what does this game mean to you personally?
Personally, it just means that all the hard work has paid off. I think leading the team and just making sure everyone's doing the little things like wall ball, making sure to get to the locker room early, all those tiny things, I think is just so important building success like this. And I think that just making history and different points of the season, like Cortland win, undefeated, and now winning SUNYACs, I think is just amazing.
Now, Julia, this is the first championship in program history. What do you think has made this year's team different from the past?
I think our team chemistry was amazing this season and still is. I think that on and off the field, we're always working together. We're always hanging out. I think that we work together on one end to the field to the next, even on defense, goalie, someone makes a goal, the bench is always cheering. I think everyone just is lifting each other up always.
Now, Julia, your season's not over yet. The NCAA selection show is set to take place tomorrow morning. What is your team hoping for going into this NCAA tournament?
We're hoping that we just keep showing up and playing all together. I think that a lot of teams come in and say, oh, it's just Oswego. And going into that last game, we were the #1 seed, but a lot of people thought Cortland had it in the bag and that they're going to come back and get revenge from the last time we took it from them, but they didn't. And I think that going into this tournament, I think we can do the same thing.
Thanks, Mike. Good news we have. May the 4th be with you. It's Star Wars Day.
The unofficial holiday of Star Wars, May the 4th celebrates a story from a long time ago in a galaxy far away.
May the 4th is a play on the famous Star Wars phrase, "May the Force be with you."
Star Wars fans celebrate the holiday annually in multiple ways, including watching the iconic movies.
Well, that's pretty funny. You guys got a favorite Star Wars character? I know mine's Vader. I don't know about you guys.
I'm not going to lie, I've never been a huge Star Wars fan. I'm going to say Han Solo.
Okay. You?
I've never been a Star Wars fan. I don't think I can comment on that one.
We're just going to end the show on that one then. That's our report for tonight.
Be sure to stay tuned for our regularly scheduled programming.
Thank you for watching.
Have a great night, everyone.